is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Charter Podcast, brought to you by Saint Xavier University. I'm Ruthie Polinsky, back with Clay Harbor and Alex Shapiro, and we have a lot to get to because it is going to be a busy week for us, a busy week up at 𝗏𝗏 Hall, and we had a very eventful weekend that I think we should also recap because starting, obviously, Friday night was the Bears game, la-di-da. Saturday morning, though, the Big Pro Football Show took to the court at Bulls Fest, and we played the Chicago lead team. So it was Clay and I, and David unfortunately had his radio show for the baseball show. So we had Kevin Lapka step in for David Haw for the Big Pro Football Show, and we went up against Cam Smith, Gabe Ramirez, and Naomi, and the Big Pro Football Show came away with the dub at the United Center for the Bulls Fest 3-on-3 tournament. Obviously, that is the headline of the weekend, and we will continue to brag forever.
Absolutely, as you should. Never in doubt, you should brag until next year's Bulls Fest tournament.
I would like for the listeners to understand my role in this, which was hype queen and defense and trying to stay out of everyone else's way. That was really my goal. Clay was just yelling at me the whole game, and I'm trying to like hype him up. And I'm like, yeah, Clay, let's go. Come on, Kevin, let's go. And Clay's like, Ruthie. He's like, get that, Ruthie.
I'm actually pretty embarrassed about my
performance.
Myself. No, my performance, yes, but also for being so competitive in this.
No, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I loved it. We were all fired up. I think we were all fired up. I was just sort of like there to remind everyone, like, we can celebrate the good things. Like, I feel like everyone was just sort of pissed. Also, it was hot and we are out of shape. We're not in basketball shape. I mean, we're in good shape, but like, we're not in basketball shape. 25 minutes is a long time to play basketball.
I'm
like,
still sore.
We were
I'm
dying. Are you sore?
I might get a cramp in the middle of this and might have to run, but I'm sore.
Yeah, I do think I led the team in rebounds.
Yeah, and wearing glasses. Ruthie wore sunglasses the whole time. Didn't even take them off. She was just fashionista.
They're fashionista. Well, gotta look swaggy P on the court, okay? Also, didn't even know that I did that until after the game. Someone came up to me and was like, Ruthie, it's really impressive you kept your sunglasses on. And I was like, wait, I literally didn't realize. They're sort of my like, they're like see-through glasses. And I wear them like when I golf, they stay on my face really well. So I just like don't even notice. Anyways, this is not what our listeners want to hear, but we needed to have a moment. Alex, wish you could have seen it. There will be a recap done. We're taping this Monday morning. Monday early afternoon. There will be a recap on the Big Pro Football Show this evening we're going to show some highlights.
I'm setting my DVR now.
Okay, thank you. Let's get into the real news of the day. Also want to let our listeners know that obviously Tyson Bagent had a phenomenal performance on Friday night, which we will get into all of those details. This was, of course, just days after signing a life-changing 2-year extension with the Bears. And then he got to throw out the first pitch at the White Sox game on Sunday. I was also there and had the opportunity to sit down with Tyson Bagent for 8-ish minutes, which was so much fun and so exciting. And we are going to play that interview in full for you at the end of today's podcast. So make sure you stick around and listen to that because that's just someone, he reminds me, we'll talk about this, the parallels between Tyson Bagent and Ben Johnson are endless. Similarly, it's like when one of them talks, you got to listen because they always are going to say something where you learn something. It's entertaining. It's informational, all of the above. Let's get into Friday night. Clay, Alex, your biggest takeaway. Let's go chronologically. Let's start with the starters. Bears starters up against Chiefs starters. Bears starting offense played the whole first half. Your takeaways, Alex.
I think it's good that they played that first half because I think it's good that they got that 2-minute drill. And yes, we have to put the asterisk on it, the 2-minute drill against a lot of Chiefs backups. But I think it was good for them to end on that high note because obviously the beginning was not great. You have Olamide Zaccheaus and Caleb Williams not on the same page with the motion. The timing was off. There's a fumble. And then you have Colson Loveland false start. And then you're looking at 2nd and 19 right away. So that's no good. And then, DeAndre Swift, I actually thought looked really solid. This was I think the first time we saw DeAndre Swift all preseason. He looked ready to go, which was great. encouraging, but it was a bit of a wake-up call. Hey, playing against the Bills backups, everything looks hunky-dory, but as we all know, growth is not linear in the NFL or in life, period. Growth just ain't linear. So it can be 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and I thought it was a little bit of a step back, but that 2-minute drill looked good. They got it done. I think it was actually a bigger wake-up call, though, for the defense. The defense got chewed up by Patrick Mahomes, who is Patrick Mahomes. So that's another asterisk. Yes, is the best player in the league, playing with his guys. But, Nahshon Wright, who we have sung praises of all summer, got cooked a couple times. The run defense was once again not good. That's been a trend throughout joint practices and throughout the preseason. So a bit of a wake-up call. And again, asterisk, there was no Tremaine Edmonds. There was no Grady Jarrett. There was no Kyler Gordon. These are guys who are going to be very important to that run defense. All 3 of those guys. You got 2 guys in the middle with Tremaine Edmonds and Grady Jarrett. And then Kyler Gordon, we know he's always sticking his nose in at the line of scrimmage. So again, asterisk, you're missing some key guys there. But wake-up call for both the offense and a wake-up call, I think, for the defense.
Yeah, I think you're right. Looking start offensively. It's tough. It's tough because I just finished watching the All-22, right? And a lot of the stuff was just messy, obviously stuff that shouldn't be happening right now, but it's fixable. So it's not as much of players just getting beat because they can't play or just poor decision making by Caleb. A lot of it is just very preventative, like the pre-snap stuff, like the fumble on a jet motion. Obviously that stuff is concerning, but I feel like that stuff is very fixable. And I thought, besides the clunkiness of the operation and some of those penalties, Loveland's penalty, I thought it looked decent. I thought DeAndre Swift looked really good to me. He was lowering his pad level. He looked explosive. He was a guy that looked like he was coached by Eric Bieniemy to run more downhill, to get more north and south, to get some short yardage plays. So to me, that showed up, right? Offensive line, I thought looked solid. I thought Luke Newman, guy playing with the ones, is going against Chris Jones. I'm watching these All-22 clips. This guy's competing with the best defensive tackle in football. He's a rookie from Michigan. One year at Michigan State, was FCS player before that. This kid's got a bright future. He's going neck and neck with Chris Jones. Okay, that's as hard as it gets. It ain't getting harder. So he was impressive. Darnell Wright, in his limited snaps, played well. I thought he played well. I thought Jonah Jackson played well. I liked what Ryan Bates even did. I thought Braxton, up and down, got beat a couple pass pros, got some pressure, got pushed back. I thought even in the run game, he got beat a few times, so he needed to improve a little bit. But overall, I loved what we saw from Caleb bouncing back on the 2-minute drill. Yes, it's against the twos, I know. I liked what 𝗻𝗓𝗄 did, seeing Rome make that big play after maybe a 50-50 ball, looked like he could have caught. So overall, I'm not too down on the offense, right? The offense, in my opinion, outside of the clunkiness of the operation, there were a lot of positives there. And even to go down the list, I thought 𝗦𝗫cy played well. I thought 𝗻𝗄 started a little bit rough. I'm like, oh, wow. 𝗻𝗄, and he's even going against the twos, but he ended up playing better as the game went on. And then you got the 𝗵𝗎ce Alexander stuff and, whatever. I thought some of those backups played well too. And obviously Tyson Bagent, once again, showing why he might be one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league. I mean, what did his stat line end up there? He, just efficient, 20 of 28 passes for 212 yards, 7.6 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns across 31 dropbacks. Pretty good. Yeah.
What was so impressive to me, guys, about Tyson, and I really wanted to focus on the starters, then we'll get into Tyson here more in depth, but I think no, you're fine. It's okay. It's hard not to talk about Tyson. I mean, the way that game ended was really spectacular for a lot of reasons. And I think we'll get to that in a second. But to me, the biggest takeaway for the starters, guys, was the sloppiness of like the mechanics and the operation is just inexcusable at this point. And I think for me, the biggest takeaway of the game was starters look rough to start, get a 2-minute drill in, you're feeling a little bit better. Tyson comes in and wins the game, and the coach is pissed after the game. And that to me is the story, because it's just not good enough. How many times have we heard in preseason games, you're really proud of the guys that came in and battled and kept us in it, and we, a lot of good tape this week, and like that is not this head coach. And to me, that's the story. And I imagine that if he said that to us, he said that to his team as well. Because what we've learned about Ben Johnson is how he feels is how he feels, and he's going to let us know, and he's going to let his team know. So I think that to me is the biggest storyline. And they have a long time before they play the Vikings on Monday Night Football, 16, 17 days between the two games. There are going to be some tough decisions made this week, I think, obviously with cutdown day looming. And I'm really interested to see if all of that can get cleaned up with the whole world watching. Prime time, Monday Night Football, J.J. McCarthy's homecoming, NFL debut. Can the Bears look like the more experienced, more polished offense? That's going to be the biggest question, because going up against the Chiefs, who are, we know, the defending AFC champions, they are the standard. It's Patrick Mahomes, future Hall of Fame quarterback, future Hall of Fame coach. We don't expect the Bears to be there yet, right? Like, it's okay that they don't look amazing against the Chiefs. However, the little things, I think, is what disappointed me the most, and that there was an opportunity there. You just steamrolled the Bills backups the week before, right? Guys that aren't going to make the cut. Yep. And everyone talked about that all week. Everyone said, yeah, well, it was against Bills backups. It was against Bills backups. Let's see. Well, they had an opportunity to go out there at Arrowhead Stadium, one of the more
hostile environment.
Hostile. Thank you for the word. Hostile environments in the NFL, whether it's preseason or not, right? Arrowhead Stadium is the epitome of tough environment. And they had an opportunity to show everyone, like, we've gotten better. And I think we were just reminded too frequently in those starter snaps of what we saw last year. And that was disappointing.
No,
let's get in.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Alex. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I think totally fair points. You're right. Especially going back to the Ben Johnson stuff. How many coaches in the NFL go, instead of after the game, like, we've got to look at the tape. And then on Monday, kind of hem and haw and still don't really go in on the players. After watching that tape on Monday, he was like, it wasn't good enough. And he was right. In terms of the question marks, you got to imagine, though, it's somewhere in between the Bills and the Chiefs, right? We have seen the progress with the pre-snap stuff. We've seen progress with the operation. It has gotten better. But again, like, will it be perfect? Probably not. It'll probably be somewhere in between. One other thing just to remember, in between like now and Minnesota and Buffalo and Kansas City, this was the Bears' first road game. So it was their first time going through that road game experience, the road game reps. It was also a short week, so it was their first time doing a short week. They played Sunday Night Football in the preseason, which is still mind-boggling that exists, Sunday Night Football for the preseason. They went Sunday Night Football against the Bills to a Friday night game against the Chiefs. So not quite a Thursday night turnaround. But you do miss those 2 days. So one of those days was a walkthrough, right? So they took away a day of practice and made it a walkthrough. So I wasn't really surprised by the sloppiness, because it's like, okay, they took away a day of practice, short week. I think it'll look better on Monday Night Football.
I'm going to play one little quick moment of devil's advocate here for a moment. They weren't scheming the Chiefs. There was no scheme. There was no strategy. This was, let's run a set of plays that I'm going to tell you before the game, this plays we're going to run.
No, you're right.
That's what that is. And so I think that's sort of where I'm like, I want to say, okay, short week, it's the Chiefs, it's You want to run the plays, and you don't want to fumble the snap on the first freaking play of the game. Like, you just don't want to do that. So let's transition a little bit. Obviously, I totally agree with what you said, Clay, about the defense is almost a little bit of a reality check. It did not look like they wanted to be out there. And that's disappointing, right? When we're talking about culture and what this team is like, it didn't look like they wanted to play in that game. And I think that's really frustrating and probably something that they'll harp on and take a look at this week. But Nahshon Wright, Tyreek Stevenson, really tough days. Obviously, you really hope Jalen Johnson is out there, guys, on Monday Night Football. But if he's not practicing this week, and if he's like maybe in the ramp up period next week, it's just we're getting close, okay, to this being like, is he going to be ready? So I think we'll all have our eyes on the field this week and take a look at when Jalen Johnson's timeline, what that looks like in this moment. But there's a lot of concerns. No Tremaine Edmonds. I know he wasn't out there. Obviously no Kyler Gordon, etc. You still have to understand, like, there are going to be injuries during the course of the season, and it can't look like that. So that's sort of where I think it was a humbling experience. I think for the defense, for the team, after 38-0 shutout against the Buffalo Bills, you kind of get your teeth kicked in for a couple of drives there against the Chiefs starters, and maybe everyone's coming back down to earth a little bit, which is maybe a good thing, right? Like maybe that's a blessing in this moment, before they have to get ready to face the division opponent week 1 in prime time. Transition to quarter number 3. Enter Tyson Bagent, and the Bagency is open for business. What was so cool for me, guys, obviously Tyson Bagent has the press conference heard around the world because of the emotion he showed and the appreciation he has for where he comes from and what this turns into. And then he goes out there and he shows everyone why he got that deal. Like, that was so cool to me to see him really embrace the moment and shine in that moment and not let the moment get too big for him. It just shows you his mentality. And I can't wait for everyone to hear sort of our conversation in full, where I asked him to take me inside your brain. What is Tyson Bagent thinking in that 2-minute drill? And you'll get to hear his answer here in just a little bit. But he was so cool, so calm, so collected in all of those big moments on Friday night. What did you guys like the most about Tyson Bagent's performance when it came to QB2?
Well, just like Caleb Williams did pretty much everything you wanted to see Caleb Williams do against the Bills, Tyson Bagent did everything you want to see Tyson Bagent do against the Chiefs. And it is great. Going back to Clay's comment, is this one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL? I mean, you just have to feel great about the backup quarterback situation. And he did exactly like a lot of the players that he played against on that last drive probably are not NFL players. And you want to see him go out and win a game against that type of defense, right? He should take command of that situation and he should win that game. And that's exactly what he did. And he did it in very dramatic fashion. And, there are no doubts that he is QB2, which, sometimes it's like, okay, do we feel good about this guy or do we feel good about that guy? If Caleb goes down, or, can we hold on for a little bit until he gets healthy for 3 weeks or whatever? If Caleb Williams does, heaven forbid, miss some time due to an injury, you do feel good about Tyson Bagent. You do feel good about the operation. He knows how to do it. He's going to work his ass off to do it. We know that. That's exactly the guy you want in that number 2 position. He'll operate it. Does he have the huge arm? No, he doesn't. But he'll make the right decisions. He will make enough plays, and you can win with him. And that's the bottom line. Can you win with your backup quarterback? Yes, we know the Bears have done it. You can win with Tyson Bagent. And it was just like exhibit 30. Like, we've seen this so many times, but he just continues to emphasize that point. You can win with me.
Yeah, no, I loved what I saw from Tyson. I would like to talk. So are we going to do a defensive segment here, Ruthie, or should I just go ahead and give my takes on the defense here? I don't know if we
for the starters.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I thought you kind of hit on the defense.
I haven't chimed in on the defense.
Yeah, no structure here.
I went in on the run defense a little bit. But Clay's got to go in on 𝗪cieህ𝗁𝗶𝗹, I'm guessing.
Yeah. We got to talk. Yeah, let's talk. I was trying to go like negative, positive, negative, positive. If we want to go in on the defense, listen, this is the Charter podcast. We have no rules.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Let's go, baby. What you got for me?
Well, I just wanted to go back to the starting defense because to me that was more concerning than the offense because it wasn't an operational thing. To me, it wasn't just the fact that, you were clunky, your away games, the crowd noise maybe got to you, a couple of mental errors here, still not good. But to me, they were just getting beat and they weren't getting any pressure. There was just nothing happening for that first team defense. It was hard to see any bright spots out there. It's across from a couple of plays. Defensive backs, Jaquan Brisker's missing tackles. He's getting beaten coverage. Obviously, he's going against 𝗵𝗗 𝗟𝗏 and some solid receivers, but Brisker did not play well. 𝗵𝗏 Wright, and not just the plays that we saw in the All-22. I'm looking at every snap. It looked like every snap this guy got beat. He's open by 5 yards. The guy he went from being one of my camp crushes to being a guy that doesn't look like he can play NFL football. And now it's starting to kind of make sense to maybe why this guy wasn't a starter somewhere. I mean, some guys just aren't gamers and they can't transfer it over to the game. They're better in practice situations. I don't know if that's him, but this preseason has not been good for him like the camp has. So 𝗵𝗏 Wright did not look good. 𝗵𝗏 𝗟𝗶𝘀, top 20th average per year salary at edge rusher. And let me even put Montez Sweat in this. Neither of these guys can get pressure. Okay, you're both getting paid with a capital P. Okay, 𝗵𝗏, I'm a tight end. I'm watching. I don't even blink an eyelash. We're not chipping you. We're not going to double team. We're going to single up both these guys, and we're going to get everybody out in the route because I'm not worried that you guys are going to get a sack. Montez Sweat looks okay. He doesn't look like a guy who's getting paid $100 million. 𝗵𝗏 𝗟𝗏𝘀 looks like a below-average starter, not a guy that's making $17 million a year. So they both got to get better. Interior, obviously, Grady wasn't playing. Tremaine wasn't playing. TJ didn't have a great game. So there wasn't a lot of positives on that defensive side of the ball. So they got a lot of work to do. Obviously, they're going against the starters for the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Andy Reid, one of the GOATs, maybe the GOAT, one of the best offensive play callers of all time. And yeah, they were going out there to prove a point before the season started. But still, very disappointing individual performances. And I know we're getting Kyler back, like Ruthie alluded to. I know you're thinking you're getting Jalen back. I know Grady didn't play and Tremaine Edmonds didn't play, but still a lot of individual performances of guys that are going to be contributors regardless did not look good.
Yeah, I think you make valid points there, Clay. Like I said, it didn't feel like they wanted to be out there. And that's really disappointing when you have an opportunity to go up against, the standard of what championship football looks like. So I think that's really where you see some concern. Don't think that'll be their mentality week one, but you just want to have guys on your team that love football and want to play football hard. And it just didn't feel like we saw a lot of that, especially from the defensive starters on Friday night. Guys, I just kind of played a little game in my head, and I want to go back to Tyson Bagent here for a moment. I'm going to run through a list of starting quarterbacks in the NFL, just a list that I threw on my piece of paper. I'm going to ask you if you think Tyson Bagent or said quarterback would win more games in an NFL season. Okay?
I love it. Just
kind of came up with this in my head. And listen, I hear you. People are saying, oh, what's it going to, Tyson Bagent. There are a lot of different conversations happening today about Tyson Bagent. Yes, I think it's silly to think that he is going to, you do not want Tyson Bagent to play, because if Tyson Bagent is playing, that means it didn't work out with Caleb Williams, and he's the number 1 overall pick for a reason. Okay. That's the issue. However, if he does have an opportunity to play, let it be injury or what have you, things go awry, some chaos ensues. Okay. And maybe, we don't know what Ben Johnson's patience will be for losing. That's the big unknown.
Oh boy. What?
So I just want to play this game. Okay. And it might make people really appreciate it. My goal here in this game is not to ask you, should 𝗪cie Bagent be QB1? That's not the point of this game. The point of this game is to make you feel really good about the Bears backup quarterback. Okay. So I'm going to list some starting quarterbacks in the NFL in 2025. You tell me if you think if you would feel better about 𝗪cie Bagent being your quarterback in that game or X.
Okay.
Okay.
Love it.
Russell Wilson.
Oh,
Obviously
tough.
someone with a ton of experience.
I would say Tyson. I would say Tyson over Russell because, I mean, honestly, I would probably take Jackson Dart over Russell Wilson after the preseason Jackson Dart has. This is a Chicago Bears podcast. We won't go into depth there with what Brian Daboll's going to do.
But even still, Clay, I mean, you'd rather have Tyson than Jackson Dart.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't know enough about Jackson Dart yet.
He just had one good preseason, but I mean, first round pick. He's a guy that you're expecting a lot from. But yeah, over Russell Wilson, I'd take Tyson.
Okay, you agree, Alex?
That's tough. That's like right where the line would be because like Russell, obviously, here's the thing with Russell Wilson. When he is bad, he looks terrible. He looks so bad. But then we even saw at certain points last year that he still like can do it and he can still get it done. And I know what I can get out of Russell Wilson when he is playing to his ability. It just feels like sometimes a dice from which Russell Wilson are you going to get. It's almost like a coin flip for me, which I know it is a cop out, but
that's fine.
I guess I'll go Russell Wilson. I'm sorry.
We're going to fly through these because I don't want to spend too much time on this.
Sure.
Daniel Jones.
𝗪cie Bagent.
JJ McCarthy. We don't know what JJ McCarthy is yet.
I don't know. I mean, for this year, maybe Tyson, but I mean, I got to see what JJ is going to do. You know, right now, I think you got more of a read on what Tyson's going to be than JJ, but I think JJ does have the potential to be really good, and we're just going to see.
Yeah, I agree. Week 1, I think it's 𝗪cie Bagent, but if we're talking about the full season and like building a team around a guy, JJ McCarthy.
And I think we all can agree, similar to what's happening here in Chicago, the ceiling for JJ McCarthy, I think we all know is much higher than the ceiling for 𝗪cie Bagent. However, I would feel really good about 𝗪cie Bagent being my starting quarterback week 1 if I'm the Vikings.
Sure.
Okay. Spencer Rattler.
Tyson.
𝗪cie Bagent.
This one will be a little blast from the past. Justin Fields.
I'll take Fields.
Yeah, I'll probably take Fields.
I think I'd go Tyson.
You going Tyson? Yeah. I mean, there's an argument to be made.
Yeah.
Okay. Like this version of when Tyson came in for Justin Fields that season and went 2-2 as a starter, like that was Tyson's rookie season. Like think about where Tyson is now compared to where he was even then. I mean,
you're right.
Okay. I got one for you. This one now maybe a little bit of a discussion. Brock Purdy.
I go Purdy. I like Tyson, like I said, but I mean Purdy's just shown so much over the years. I know he's been in a great system, but I think it's closer than people would think.
I kind of want to see 𝗪cie Bagent with Kyle Shanahan, though.
Okay, that's not really the game we're playing. It's like this. Okay, but that's fine. Okay, last but not least, who we did not take one preseason snap, guys, which blew my mind. Michael Penix.
I'm a big Michael Penix guy. I'm a huge Michael Penix guy. I think Tyson's in that realm, but I think Michael Penix is going to be one of the better quarterbacks coming out of last year's draft class.
I agree. I'm super high on Michael Penix, but I just think that's a worthy discussion. It just shows you guys. I just listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys of 32 NFL teams that are going to be starting quarterbacks this year that you'd feel really good, or at least we'd have a discussion about 𝗪cie Bagent being a competitive quarterback in that game.
𝗪cie Bagent or Kirk Cousins, who lost his job to Michael Penix.
Right. Like it's a discussion. So that was fun. Thank you for entertaining me with that. I'm not saying 𝗪cie Bagent should be QB1 for the Chicago Bears. I'm just letting everyone know you got it really good in Chicago with that quarterback situation. And I know 𝗪cie Bagent. What's unfortunate is that we haven't gotten to see 𝗪cie Bagent play with the number one the one offensive line, the one wide receivers. Like that to me shows you like there's another level that has yet to be unlocked for 𝗪cie Bagent that would be really, I think, it would obviously be very bittersweet if Tyson Bagent is starting a game for the Bears. However, I think you should feel really good about winning that game if Tyson Bagent's out there. That's all I have to say there. Well, fellas, big week ahead. Roster cutdowns are looming. Do you guys feel like anyone played their way onto the roster in this preseason? Not just Friday night, but over the course of the preseason. And we're taping this for everyone's awareness. We're taping this Monday afternoon. We've gotten a handful of cuts that we know of so far. We'll see who signs to the practice squad, et cetera. But, is there anyone that you feel like earned the right to be on this roster? And I think particularly you look at the wide receiver room, maybe the running back room. Yep. What are the position battles you are keeping an eye out for as we learn about roster cuts?
When you ask that question off the top of my head, two guys come to mind, and yes, they are wide receivers. Like every decision when you're talking about the 53rd man, it's probably going to come down to special teams. So I think it comes down to, do the Bears need a gunner or do they need a big guy? Right? Who's that last guy that you really need? Do you need the extra gunner or do you need the extra big guy? If they need an extra gunner, I think you could make a case for both J.D. Walker and Maurice Alexander, because these are guys who have consistently made plays in the preseason. And Maurice Alexander's made a lot of plays in practice too. And these are guys who can play teams. Now, if they need the extra big guy, maybe you're talking Dominique Robinson instead, right? I think that's probably what it comes down to, in my opinion. But yeah, I think those are two guys. Like, if you ask me, even week 2 of training camp, partway through, Maurice Alexander and J.D. Walker aren't probably top of mind, but I think as the summer has gone on, they've either improved, or in Maurice Alexander's case, I think he's been pretty consistent. And can probably contribute on teams. So those are the first two guys that come to mind for me.
Yeah, I mean, J.D. Walker, after the game he had, I mean, pretty incredible. Getting that finish with 3 catches, 37 yards and a score. And I mean, just a playmaker. But you do got to realize that I know you're hearing a lot of the noise that these guys aren't going to make it to the practice squad if you release them. I mean, most of these guys will. That, especially these young guys on the roster that haven't played much regular season football. It's hard for an undrafted rookie free agent to come in to play a couple snaps in the preseason and to really catch an eye. You were undrafted for a reason. Nobody drafted you. Okay. And you're going to have to really change some minds to get picked up and take a spot from somebody else on a roster. I think Maurice Alexander, practice squad guy. It depends. Are you going to keep 6 wide receivers? Maybe you take him over Tyler Scott. I think Devin Duvernay, we saw he had a good training camp. He caught a lot of balls, didn't do a ton in this preseason, but I think he's a reliable guy. And I think you would take him after the guaranteed 4. It's Tyler Scott, J.D. Walker, Maurice Alexander. Who are you going with there? Besides that, I'm interested in seeing 𝗵𝗏. Are you going to keep, 4, 5 offensive tackles, 5 offensive tackles? I know that Theo Benedict has some guard experience, and he can play in guard. He spent most of last year in practice squad practicing guard. Can Karan play inside? Are you willing to try to develop this guy? You need to be better at developing players. 3rd-round draft pick. That's harder to cut. This guy might get picked up.
3rd-round draft pick with 36+ inch arms.
Yeah, he's a guy that you create a player on Madden. He's one of those guys, create a player. So that's something that interests me. And the latest, I don't know if you guys saw it, come out, and now there will be more info to come out. But as of right now, just to be up to date, the Bears did just waive Miller Bradford, Xavier Carlton, Alex Cook, Power Eccles, Caleb Hayes, Austin Reed, Ian Wheeler, which I think we saw coming, but he was a guy that, maybe could make the practice squad. Joel Wilson, maybe practice squad candidate, the tight end that had a solid OTAs, kind of, tailed off as training camp and preseason came around. Did have some good catches yesterday, though. And then they released Trey Flowers, Royce Freeman, Joshua Miles. And the difference between waived and released is when you're waived, you are subject to waivers, which means the draft, basically your draft position at this point is where teams get a chance to pick you up. The worst team gets the first chance. Second worst team gets a second chance. Release players or veterans. They can sign anywhere. So they did release Royce Freeman, the running back, Trey Flowers, Joshua Miles, and 𝗍 𝗂𝗍𝗂, ended up on the non-football injury list, or the
non-football injury reserve list.
Yeah.
He's missed all of training camp with a personal issue is what they've called it.
Yes.
Very bizarre situation. You obviously wonder how much of this they knew before they spent a draft pick on him. But obviously you hope everything's okay with him. But we did see him. We caught sight of him for the first time in a long time at practice last week, making his way, looked like, to the back practice fields or maybe the Walter Payton Center. So you're hoping that he's okay. And but he will not be taking up a roster spot in 2025. So that's, I think, what people should know.
I think something that's interesting as well, and it's going to determine a lot of this this roster, is how injured are some of these players, right? Running backs, Kyle Monangai, we feel like he should be ready. I mean, for the indications we've gotten, but will he miss a few games? Austin Booker, out a few weeks with a knee, was all that was said. Right. So will some of these players be placed on the short-term injured reserve? Right. You get a few players a year that you could put on the short-term injured reserve, which keeps you an extra roster spot. So when those players return, they'll take up the roster spot, but they won't until then. So the injuries, I think, will have a lot to say in the initial 53-man roster as well.
And those rules have changed recently, right? So it used to be you had to carry a guy onto the 53-man roster before you could put him on the short-term IR. Now there's two guys you can put on the short-term IR before you make those cuts. So like you said, Roschon Johnson, Travis Homer, if they think either of those guys is going to be a 4 to 6 week thing, okay, you put Travis Homer on IR, all of a sudden you got a spot for somebody else that just opened up. So yeah, that will obviously play a role in those decisions as well. You laid it out perfectly. If Austin Booker is going to be a short-term or a long-term thing and you need that extra pass rusher, well, then maybe that helps the team keep Dom Robb or helps them keep Tanoh Kpassagnon. So the health updates also play a huge role in this. That's a great call, Clay.
All right, fellas. Well, I want our listeners to hear this in conversation with Tyson Bagent. He's obviously just a joy of a human. This is so funny, guys. I met Travis Bagent for the first time. Obviously, Tyson's dad, who is, as everyone knows, who's seen any interview with him, he's a character and just a great person, great human being, loves his son to pieces. And Tyson got really emotional in his press conference and talked about, Travis Bagent didn't have running water until he was in high school. So this, was portrayed as this sort of like rags to riches. Like, this is just a beautiful story. So I meet Travis Bagent yesterday before Tyson's throwing out the first pitch, and we're talking, and I'm telling him how happy I am for Tyson, et cetera. And he says, I need you to know, Tyson did not grow up poor. He goes, I grew up poor. Travis says this because I grew up poor. Tyson did not grow up poor. He's like, I'm seeing everyone talking about, this poor kid. He's like, Tyson had a great childhood, which I thought was really funny. And obviously it's incredible perspective for Tyson to be that emotional about his family's story. But Travis wanted me, he said, if you have an opportunity, make sure you let everyone know that Tyson was not poor growing up, which is funny. So I enjoyed that conversation with Travis. And then I got to sit down with Tyson, who threw a great first pitch yesterday, guys. I don't know if you caught it, a little high. They kind of, he was a little upset because they told him to aim high because, when you're throwing from the mound, you can't really, but it was on the mark. Obviously, Tyson, you love to see him. You root for him. Here's my conversation with Tyson Bagent. Big week for you, my friend. Obviously, life-changing deal gets done. You have an incredible preseason finale game on Friday. Lead your team to a come-from-behind win. And now you're here and you get to throw out the first pitch for the White Sox. Walk me through this week. How are you feeling in this moment right now?
Yeah, I feel great. I mean, I have family and friends with me. It's really a dream come true. It's really too much to really think about. And really right now for me, I'm just worried about not letting it be distracting, still continue to keep the main thing and, keep this thing rolling.
I know you were
very clear about how much this meant to you. And I loved they had Caleb mic'd up at practice the day the deal gets done. And I loved hearing you being like, I'm not letting this set in until after practice. And I feel like that's so representative of who you are as a worker, as a person. Like, you are just in the here and the now. How do you do that? How do you keep your mind, your mentality so clear all the time?
For me, it's always been simple. Just because, like I said, we're out there practicing, but at a certain point that day, we're going to be in the film room watching this practice. So you hate to be the guy that looks like an idiot on tape. So always trying to put good things on tape. You're only as good as your last performance in my book. So always just trying to stay ready to, continue to stack these good things that are happening. And like I said before, just keep the main thing the main thing.
Okay, we have to talk about Friday's game a little bit. Tyson, you just looked so calm, clear, poised in that 2-minute drive. Can you take us inside your brain in that 2-minute drill? Like, what are you thinking? How are you feeling? What's your mentality? And how do you keep the guys around you so calm also?
Yeah, I think the overall mentality was the fact that it was a 2-minute drill and we were down by more than a field goal, so we knew we needed a touchdown. And then, putting that in the back of your head and then understanding that, hey, really we need this first down and we need to try to stop the clock as many times as we can because we have no timeouts. Now, obviously, we had almost a minute and a half, so a couple of those could be, in the middle of the field. But for the most part, trying to get the clock stopped. And I thought 𝗻𝗂 did a great job of keeping his feet in bounds. Football is a game of momentum. We talk about it all the time. So once it gets going, lucky for me, O-line was working, wideouts getting open, so just trying to execute.
For Ben to leave you in that whole second half and let you have an opportunity to go win the game, what did that mean to you?
It means a lot. I feel like nobody loves getting reps more than I do, so it certainly means a lot. It's also a little bit bittersweet. There's other guys, on the team that, I would love for them to get reps too, and that's the tough part about the preseason and having to cut the team down at this time of the year. But, for my football journey and, to this point, is all I could ask for is to get all those reps, so I'm very thankful for that.
You mentioned it. This is a tough couple of days here with cutdowns looming. Do you have a message to your teammates or to guys who are maybe uncertain about their futures these next couple of days?
Yeah, I would just say not to think too much into it. No matter what, this is our life's journey, and this was, this was meant to happen one way or another. And I would just say, just don't stop. There's always people that are looking for somebody. There's injuries that happen. It's cool to be on the couch, but, stay ready while you're on the couch, and, because you never know when that phone call's coming. So that would just be my overarching message.
Okay, I know you've talked about this contract a ton, and I think the world was captivated by your story because of the emotion that you showed and the appreciation to the Bears. I want to ask you about what loyalty means to you. And the reason I ask that is because you're at Shepherd, right? And you have opportunities to go play at bigger schools. You chose to stay there at Shepherd. You win D2 Player of the Year. Then you're an undrafted rookie and you make a name for yourself with the Chicago Bears. You could have gone and maybe seen what another organization, what other opportunities you could have had to really go compete to be a starter. You chose to stay here with the Chicago Bears. Why is that such a huge part of who you are?
Yeah, I've just never been much of like the grass is greener on the other side. The grass is green where I'm standing at right now, and I know with this staff that we have, it'll be crucial in my development going forward to be a sponge and learn as much as I can and get coached really hard and all those good things, so that when an opportunity like that does come later down the line, I feel like I'll be more than ready for it.
One of my colleagues called, the opportunity you have right now is you're getting a PhD in football from Harvard Business School with, the best professor in the world. And I'm wondering if there's a moment or maybe a coaching point or even just a conversation that you had with Ben Johnson that was a light bulb for you, like, okay, I'm where I'm supposed to be right now because of this guy.
Yeah, I would just say it's been the just his overall message just throughout our time spent in the spring through camp. He hasn't wavered. He stood on all 10 toes with the things that he says. Me, along with, I know a lot of my other teammates are big fans. I know Detroit was obviously big fans last year, and, the way they were able to operate. And I think that you're seeing, at least for me, I'm seeing some things overlap from looking at Detroit last year to seeing the tape this year. That's one thing we need is a dynamic offense here in Chicago. And I think that who better to get that started than obviously, Caleb with Ben coaching him. So I think it's going to be a exciting year.
What's your relationship like with Caleb?
It's great. Yeah, we have a great room. I think Case being brought into that room has been nothing short of amazing. I mean, he's pretty much an encyclopedia of information for us, and is never scared to answer any questions we may have. So that's been great. Caleb has grown so much from year 1 to year 2, and part of that is just his, competitive drive, and then coupled the fact with the offensive staff we had, I think it's just a no-brainer. And it's been cool to see him grow, specifically like in the mental department of things. I think that they've done a great job delivering information, and Caleb, along with a lot of other people, have been a great job being sponges. So it's been great so far.
Preseason coming to an end, training camp wrapping up. You've said it, now it's time for you to kind of sit back and watch some football, but you have to stay ready. So how do you do that?
Well, there's really no other option. So this is my job, this is my life's work, and what a horrible feeling it would be to get your name called and not be ready. So stuff like that keeps me up at night, so there's no other alternative for me.
We love it, Tyson Bagent. I think the whole world is rooting for you. It was the press conference heard around the world, and for good reason, because your story is inspiring and everyone here is rooting for you. So
I appreciate it.
Good luck this year.
Thank you.
Thank you again to Tyson Bagent, who took that time to sit down with me yesterday before throwing out the first pitch at the Rate at Rate Field, which is where we'll be doing the Big Pro Football Show from all week long with the White Sox long homestand. Guys, I think one of my favorite parts of the interview was when I asked Tyson Bagent, he was so grateful and appreciative that he got to play so much this preseason, because so often in his career, which was the 𝗦𝗶𝗶 era, they wanted to get all the quarterbacks a lot of snaps. And so asking Tyson Bagent about, what did it mean to you to be able to go out there, finish the game, and give your team a chance to win? Asking him that question, I thought was another example of like this organization's belief in him and giving him an opportunity to play football, which he loves so much, before the regular season starts, and he's going to be, watching from the sideline. For Tyson Bagent to answer that question with, it was bittersweet, because I know there are a lot of guys that wanted to go out there and play, and with me out there, it meant other guys couldn't. That to me tells you everything you need to know about the person, the teammate, the human being Tyson Bagent is. And I love when we get that peek behind the curtain. And, this was all on the fly. He was so comfortable, and he's just such a pro. And it's really hard, not to root for him and his story. And everyone wants to see him on the sideline all year long. But man, he's an easy guy to root for. And I think he'll have a long career in this league. Okay, fellas. Great stuff. Thank you so much. I hope everyone listens to or watches the Big Pro Football Show this week. We'll have, as roster cutdowns get closer, we are 1 week away officially from opening night. I know, it's crazy. So it's coming. It'll be here before we know it. This is the Charter Podcast, brought to you by Saint Xavier University. For Alex Shapiro, 𝗂𝗏 𝗟𝗏, I'm Ruthie Polinsky. We'll see you next time.